Namaskar, greetings and gratitude. I welcome you all to another inspirational Star Talks episode number 105. And today, with me on the hot seat is Mrs. Meenu Kaur Chawla. How are you, Mrs. Chawla?
I'm extremely good, ma'am. Thank you for having me on this platform, and I hope the day has kicked very good for you as well.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, we are meeting today on the first day of Navratri. It's a wonderful,
Navratri.
auspicious day. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the Star Talks.
Welcome, ma'am.
Miss Meenu Kaur Chawla is a CBSE resource person, an author, an LLP and CBT practitioner. She is an expert in school and child counseling, trainer for teachers, parents, and students. I welcome you again, ma'am, to the Star Talks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, my first question comes to you is that how can assessment patterns be redesigned to focus more on skills and application rather than rote learning, ma'am?
Okay. Recent, I went to Bangalore for attending a training which was completely on assessment methods only. And actually, wrote we the saddest part is whether you talk about parents or in fact even if we speak about children, they're just learning to earn marks. There's nothing else in their mind other than I should be gaining 95, 97. They are measuring success, they are measuring skills in terms of marks. There has to be, I mean, anything which is scalable in nature is what defines success for them. But as we know, most of us are associated with CBSE schools, and let us keep any board aside. The world these days is open to skills. How skillful are you? That is why life skills and whatnot, like SSFL, socio emotional learning and whatnot. So these assessments, when teachers are framing, see, assessment is the last step, right? So let's take a stroll back from the moment we start teaching the children. The minute I start my first class, my brain, my ideology, my kind of, consideration, why am I teaching this, should be very clear. First thing first, being teacher, I have to understand this. If my sole purpose is to make the children only assessment ready, that is in terms of getting marks, then I need to introspect. And I have to just analyze that no, time has changed, and so do I have to change. So, first thing first, from the very introductory class, a teacher has to be very clear in her or his mind what is the aim or what is the objective behind the topic which I'm taking in the class. What skill does it have? It needs a lot of backup homework. I know it's not that easy, because preparing lesson plans and then working on it. So for each and every module which you're, or each and every topic which you're taking to your class, you should be very clear which skill is this going to bring into my child. The second thing, to ensure that this learning is skill based, we need to take parents also into consideration, because here in the school teachers are putting their heart and soul into ensuring that the child develops the skill. But then on the other hand, when the child goes home and tells, today I did not get any homework, or my test was just to, there are experiential based learning, there are experiential based assessment methods, there are play exam methods, there are multiple things through which a child can be assessed whether the content which I took in the class has reached to child's mind or not. But when that same child goes home and shares this thing with the parent comes complaining, oh, there wasn't any pen paper test. So first thing first is orientation of the parents is very, very important, because they in fact are the stakeholders, right? So take orientation sessions, explain them that this is the need of the hour. Oh, I'm going to give marks based on paper and pen also, but skill is one of the most important thing, and that is what we need to teach. So as I said, getting back, framing, why am I teaching this? And then if I'm teaching this and if this is my objective, how am I going to teach this? If again my teaching method is blackboard, simple blackboard method, wherein I go and I write with chalk and just tell the children to copy from the board, that's rote learning, that's strengthening rote learning. So there I need to, I planned a very wonderful workshop a couple of days back, which was named as Blackboard Brilliance, in which it was solely how can Blackboard become one of your biggest resources ever. Not only resources, but it serves as a repository. There it ensures that method of teaching ensures that assess that the learning which you're taking to the class, which you're imparting to the student, is not getting rote learning, is actually going to develop the skill. Brainstorming methods should be there. Then the study buddy methods should be there. Then peer learning, obviously there are many things going on, but not on the paper. It has to be done at the ground level, wherein each teacher is taking pain. As I said, it would be a very lengthy process. A teacher has to work a lot for this.
Wonderful, beautiful. Well said, ma'am. Ma'am, what are the most pressing emotional or behavioral challenges school children face today? And how can the educators address them early, ma'am?
Okay. Again, I'll get back to the educator again. How can I pour from an empty glass? Right? Emotional clash, behavioral clash is seen at both the ends. I'm not saying teachers are to be blamed fully. I'm not saying students are to be blamed fully. It's, each and every one of us, whether it's a student or a teacher, we all reach to the school with an emotional, invisible baggage on our shoulders. And instead of understanding this, that everyone has an invisible burden, we just focus on why did the child behave like this? How are, like, let's see, there are multiple children. We maximum of the students these days, they belong to a single parent family, or they have gone through some or the other form of trauma. They are dependent on their mates. There's like, because both the parents, it's necessity for both the parents to work. You cannot just say, oh, the mother should not go out for work. It's a compulsion. That is why mother is also forced to go to the work. Now in that case, we do not have joint families anymore. We have nuclear families. So the child is either left with the support of the daycare or a nanny or whatever, XYZ, whatever you call it as. Now, is there any way in which, because nanny is not going to be emotionally involved with the child, so how does nanny raise the child? By replacing the emotional need with a materialistic need. For example, if the child is weeping a lot, maybe he or she is missing the mother, the replacement would be a chocolate. The replacement would be an extra hour of TV. Now, when that extra hour of TV, which is being given to the child, what is the child watching? Is there anyone to see that? No. The nanny is busy scrolling her phone and the child is busy seeing that TV. Let it be even the cartoons or whatever the child is seeing. It's all kind of putting that idea, no matter what, but you have to get your things done your way. Now this is that strength which the child drives from. For him, that's the strength, right? With this empowerment, the child reaches to the school. Now the child has learned, because this is conditioning going on, right? If not this way, that way. When conditioned like this, the child reaches to the school, and hence if those demands are not met, because there's no line what you can do in the school and what is acceptable and to what extent, there's no boundary line. So now this kind of conditioned child, every other child is conditioned like this or maybe a little different, but when they reach to school, they just want by hook or by crook, my thing should be fulfilled. And that's the point when the clash arises. That's the most difficult moment for the teacher. Now, every teacher necessarily should do a small course in counseling. That's a must have. At least, if not counseling, CBT is a must. Why? Because that gives you the wisdom which helps you to crack down the sentence, to get to the core of why did the child do this, or why did the child speak like this. The sentences which we speak
What is the full
express
form
a
of
lot.
CBT, ma'am?
Cognitive behavioral therapy, ma'am.
Okay.
So cognitive is the thought process. So if I have to get to the depth of any behavior, I have to understand each and every sentence which is being spelled either by the teacher or by the student has some why behind it. Remember, we always focus on the tone, but the tone carries an emotion. And a little insight into counseling, a little insight into any of the modalities gives us the chance to get into that emotion. What is that emotion which is actually troubling that child? And hence, once when you start understanding, oh, this child is going through neglect, this child is going through some kind of trauma, this child probably is facing some kind of financial issues at home, this child is facing some relationship issues at home, excuse me. The minute you get an insight into it, your way of thinking or looking at that child changes completely. So first thing first is a little insight into why is important, and also teachers emotional well-being is very, very important. These days, work burnout, very, very common.
Absolutely correct, ma'am. So, ma'am, how can NLP techniques be used by teachers to build positive classroom communication and motivate students?
Okay. So, as I said again, everything starts with introspection. A teacher, if because she is also kind of, just put teacher at the center and imagine things revolving around her: parental expectations, self expectations, students' expectation, management expectation. And then, you have to prove yourself every single day. And at the end of the day, you are left exhausted. So NLP has multiple techniques in it, which helps the teacher refueling himself or herself. Also, I'll share one very small activity which everyone can practice. Like, each day before going to school or before reaching to your workplace, just stand at one particular place in your home, right? And that place and that timing should be fixed, right? Because time and place has memory. Stand at that one point at that very same time every day, and then just close your eyes and imagine that you're drawing a circle around you, a safety bubble. And while you're imagining that from my head to my toe, I'm making a safety bubble, just repeat, I am safe in this bubble and nothing can harm me except my own thoughts. I trust, I believe in my thoughts, and I'll be very productive today. Just one or two affirmations, and then entire day, you'll feel that there's some protective layer which is protecting you from all the kind of negativity coming your way, right? And in the evening, the minute, and also how not to carry that negativity to your home. When you are at the gate of your home, sorry, school, again close your eyes, and burst that imaginary balloon. With the bursting of this balloon, with the bursting of this shield, I burst out all the negativity, and I'm now set fresh to go home and welcome my loved ones. Well, be welcomed and also welcome my loved ones with open heart and open mind. This helps a lot.
This is nice. Good.
This is just one technique, ma'am. I have plenty of techniques.
Okay. So, ma'am, what are the biggest mindset shifts teachers need to make to thrive in today's dynamic classrooms?
Okay. The very first thing is the mindset shift, which I firmly believe and I stand with this. I am the one who's who's capable of creating a brand, who's capable of converting a normal classroom into a thriving classroom. So if I can do that for others, I have the capability to do it for myself also. Second important sentence which I carry along with me is every child is different. I cannot keep on comparing the two children, two different children. We have been, there are so many things which we read just for the sake of reading. Oh, there are different kind of learners. So if I know there are different kind of learners, I have to adapt to all the learning styles. Then why am I setting the same type of question paper for everyone? Why am I teaching with the same methods? So in this case, school should also give liberty to the teacher to tackle her class her own way. And the third and the most important thing is rapport building. A teacher has to be the confidant of the child. Once you become the confidant, wherein the child comes and vests in every trust in you, you are already the winner. You have created the thriving class.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, ma'am, what inspired your journey as an author in the education and counseling space?
Okay. I guess 7 years back, I worked for Times of India for local Jhansi, wherein I was working with school also, but I worked as a freelancer for Sunday Times. So,
Okay.
and writing is something, we all have a sanctuary. So, writing is my sanctuary. Whenever I'm overwhelmed, I have to write, and those are the moments when I create the quotes. And after that I'm thinking, oh really, did I create this? So that's the power of writing which it gives me. And also I wanted that first book of my life I dedicated to teachers, because that was the time when doctors, nurses, and everyone was being called as COVID warriors, but there was no one celebrating teachers. Teachers are also COVID warriors, no? Overnight shifting from blackboard to digital world without any hand holding, without any training. So that was the time which gave me the idea, why not to dedicate a book to the teacher? So hence the title, Post COVID Stress and Mental Wellness of a Teacher. And
Great.
then after that, thank you. And then after that, when I started practicing NLP, after that I got a great interest in psychology, and it's been 5 years. I haven't stopped, and I'm not going to stop. So from there started my counseling journey.
Beautiful, ma'am. My last question to you. So, I'm very fascinated by this. Your tailored 979. What is it all about, ma'am?
Okay, it's a platform which says like tailored means customize. And date 7 and date 9 hold a very great importance in my life. So 7 was if a destructive date, 9 was the constructive date. So I sandwiched the destructive date between the constructive dates and also added tailored. Key from
Right.
today onwards, my life is how am I going to customize it? It will be what I want to make my life like. So that's
Beau-
how the name came into existence.
Beautiful, beautiful. And here, what all you do, ma'am, in tailored 979?
I do a lot of things, ma'am. I train teachers, I give workshops for the students, and also like counseling, one on one counseling, group counseling. And also, I have created authors also. There were many young children who wanted to write. So I helped them in, getting their books written. I edited and I got the complete help, whatever help I could do in getting those books published. So
Wow.
every platform and every, like, not every Friday, but at least once in 15 days, I try to go Insta live with earlier it was the intense Fridays. Now it's the Healing Fridays series too, wherein I pick up one or the other topic and wherein I talk about some of the pains, and I mean pains in general, mental pains, emotional pains, which no one talks about, but actually everyone wants a solution to that. So this is an open platform for expressing all that.
So wonderful, Meenu ma'am. So nice knowing you and your insights. It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank
for coming to Inspirational Startups. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having called me on this wonderful platform, ma'am.
My pleasure. Honored, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear audience, for being with us in this wonderful conversation today. I will come back with another personality who has inspired my life. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you.